He's a giant cosmic force of nature that is the size of a skyscraper, and if he sets foot on your planet, that usually means that your planet is done for, unless of course you live on the Marvel Universe Earth, because he doesn't get to eat that one, and I'm probably going to tell you why a few times in this video. Howdy folks, I am Haussmann Comics, welcome back to the channel. Please like and share and subscribe and whatnot, let's dive right in. Galactus, the devourer of worlds, the last survivor of the last universe, the ultimate Grandmaster final boss threat of the Marvel Universe. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Galactus first appeared in Fantastic Four number 48 from 1966. The titular quartet of heroes was off doing something unrelated with the Inhumans, while we get our first look at the Silver Surfer. I actually find this fascinating, as he is simply referred to as a being we shall call the Silver Surfer, for want of a better name, suggesting that his name wasn't initially meant to be the Silver Surfer, it was more of a descriptor. But 2 pages later, the Skrulls are calling him the Silver Surfer, and that's his name, so I think Stan Lee always intended it as such. So, nothing new, no new reveal here, sorry, no scoop. Back on Earth, the sky lights on fire. Eventually, that fire is changed to rocks, and we learn that the Watcher was actually doing this with his matter mobilizer. For he has broken his vow of non-interference to hide the Earth from Galactus. More specifically, he's hiding it from the Silver Surfer, who won't find it for Galactus. Semantics. But the Silver Surfer sees right through all of it and sends his signal to his master. And finally, Galactus shows up and announces that the Earth will sustain him until it has been drained of all elemental life. In short, the Earth is doomed! I don't know. The Earth is doomed. I don't know why I did that. And don't think I'm going to gloss over this, because what the hell is he wearing? Like, we're all used to Galactus wearing a certain thing, and that certain thing is purple. Like, for all the years, when you think of Galactus, you think of purple, not this red and green monstrosity. Like, he's wearing short sleeves, for crying out loud. But this is what Galactus originally looked like. And honestly, I can't blame Jack Kirby because he didn't color it. Who was the colorist on this? What are these credits? Like, who do I put in the circle of shame? Stan Goldberg is the credited artist here, and all the other art and stuff is the same as the interior. So Stan Goldberg, that's who it is going in the circle of shame. Into the circle of shame with you, Stan Goldberg. But then here's like a related question for down in the comments. Like, when did Marvel or any comics start crediting the colorist? Because it wasn't here. Why didn't they credit the colorist? Color's a big part of comic books. Okay, so now we're on to the next issue and the first full appearance of Galactus. His color is better, but now he's wearing short shorts. That is, if he has any shorts on under there at all. The Watcher is asking Galactus to spare the Earth, but Big G makes it very clear that he is very powerful, long-lived, and absolutely not concerned with wiping out lives. He hardly notices when the Thing and the Human Torch attack him with all their strength. Even the Watcher tells the Fantastic Four that they should just relax. And while Galactus builds his contraption that will destroy the planet, the Watcher shows us just how he will do it. First, it will vaporize the water on Earth, converting it to energy. In minutes, every body of water on the planet will be dehydrated. Then, he will wipe out the cities like Kefka's Light of Judgment. And then, he will drain the energy from the core until the Earth is just an empty, lifeless husk. I never really thought about how he did it before, but like, that is intense. But the Watcher has a plan, and he sends Johnny to Galactus' own ship to get something, while Ben, Sue, and Reed take the fight to Galactus. But Galactus gets slightly irritated and sends out his Punisher robot to deal with them. And it kinda just wails on him for a bit until Galactus is like, yeah, you've held him back long enough, well done. This whole time, the Silver Surfer's been hanging out with Alicia Masters and deciding that maybe humans are worthy of life. So the Silver Surfer attacks Galactus. It goes poorly. At first, Galactus can't even comprehend that his herald will betray him. It's unthinkable. But then he decides he can wait a bit. He has eternity, and eventually the Surfer will come to his senses. Then a minute later, he's blasting at the Surfer with full force, and he vows to crush the Surfer with his own hands. But then the Human Torch returns from his mission with the Ultimate Nullifier in hand. The Ultimate Nullifier is a device that can just wipe the entire universe down to nothing, including Galactus. When Galactus sees the nullifier in Reed's hand, he says it's like a toddler with matches in a house of tinder. Also, he's wearing pants now. So that's 3 issues and 3 different looks, all of which I do blame on the colorist, Stan Goldberg. But yes, Galactus does essentially throw a little hissy fit and take back the Ultimate Nullifier. He says he's over it and the Earth isn't even worth the hassle. He zaps the Silver Surfer, confining him to Earth, and then he leaves. But fear not, for about 6 months later in Thor number 146, Thor and the Recorder are flying through space and they pass kind of near Galactus. His colors are still a little off here, but he kind of does tell the reader, like, hey, I'm not mean, I'm not callous, I just hunger, and I don't care about any sentient life. Feeding off the life of the galaxy is simply what his purpose is. 1 page, that's it. You want to go ahead and guess where his next appearance was down in the comments below? I'll give you a minute. His next appearance was in Daredevil. Daredevil number 34 has Old Hornhead fighting none other than Dr. Doom. And during the fight, Doom tells the tale of what happened when he stole the Silver Surfer's power. He tried to leave the planet, but because Galactus had confined the Silver Surfer to Earth, Galactus basically astral projects himself and blasts Doom. Now what I love about this was that story took place in Fantastic Four number 60, and we saw Doom fly off and kind of blow up, but we didn't know what happened. And the Fantastic Four were just kind of like, cool, I guess we won. So I did like that some of that early synergy I liked, where they finished that story in Daredevil of all places. God, early Marvel was, shaky, but the synergy was great. Because it was all written by Stan Lee. Anyway, he was in a flashback and barely there, but he was in Daredevil. It wouldn't be long before Galactus showed up again in Fantastic Four for a 4-issue stint, beginning with issue 74. And it seems that since Fantastic Four number 50, Galactus has been unable to find a planet to sustain him. He's been wandering around the whole sector of space, and Earth is the only planet available. He decides that he needs the Silver Surfer again to find him a planet to feed on, but he dare not get close to the Earth because he might be tempted. Like me when someone brings a box of donuts to work. I don't even try to not be tempted, I eat them. I eat them all. So Galactus sends his Punisher robots to the Earth in his place. So to Galactus' credit, he is trying to honor his vow he made not to eat the Earth, but at the same time, he's on the brink of death, and he will eat the Earth before he dies. But, like he says, he's trying not to. So good for him. He hopes the Fantastic Four will betray the Surfer and give him up. So Galactus reaches out with transcendent thought, and he attacks them with the very Earth itself, and then he creates doubles for them to fight. I did not know he could do this. Galactus has many powers, but the Silver Surfer is too well hidden. He's actually gone down to the Microverse. Reed buys some time by agreeing to find the Silver Surfer. So they head down to the Microverse as well, and the Surfer does agree to go with Galactus to spare the Earth. So the Silver Surfer does race off and find Galactus a planet to eat. Afterwards, he asks if he can be set free from the Earth, but Galactus says he'd rather know exactly where he is just in case he needs him again. So he's still confined to the Earth. Which really sucks for the Silver Surfer, but I did like how they were showing, hey, Galactus has some honor, he's keeping his word here, his vow to not eat the Earth, but at the same time, he's not so honorable to not be like, screw you, Surfer, I need you where I need you, so here you stay here, you know? That's just, it's building character, which is something good. And also, you may have noticed, they finally nailed down his look, so, purple. Way to go, Galactus. The Silver Surfer then got his own solo series, and right here in issue 1 we see his origin. If you're familiar with it, then you know the story of how Galactus came to Zenn-La, the homeworld of Norin-Radd, and his girlfriend Shalabal. And what the hell is he wearing now? We had it, it was there, but what is this?
I don't know, but it's weird, man.
Anyway, Galactus again holds no malice or greed or anything, he just must feed, simple as that. He even says, if your life depended on stepping on an anthill, would you not hesitate? But Norin-Radd steps up and offers to become Galactus' herald to find him uninhabited worlds to feast upon in exchange for sparing Zenn-La. Though still, after this, he did bring Big Daddy G to Earth. Dick. Next up, over in Thor 160 through 162, we get the showdown that makes the most sense. Galactus, Devourer of Worlds, versus Ego, the Living Planet. Thor was actually a lot more cosmic back in the day. The battle of the two titans rages back and forth, and Galactus again shows us his great power by hurtling comets against Ego, until Thor finally shows up in his own book and throws Mjolnir at Galactus. For the first time in a millennium, my limbs have tasted pain. Galactus is almost embarrassed that someone in a humanoid form was able to knock him back and hurt him like that, even if he does claim to be a god. But Thor focuses all his Asgardian energy and unleashes it on Galactus, actually forcing him to retreat. For, if I do not flee, I shall surely perish, and Galactus must not die. That is a huge win for Thor right there. But Galactus answers back by just going to town on other planets and destroying them and consuming the energies until he's back to full form. And a few issues later, when Thor catches up to Galactus, there's no need for battle, as Galactus just wishes to talk. Battle is also pointless because Galactus has now put up his Galactian barrier, which will protect him from absolutely any harm whatsoever. So they sit down and have a chat. Galactus tells of a long-gone planet called Taa and the virus that was wiping out its inhabitants. and a team left in a ship as a last-ditch effort to save some of them. They flew into a sun where one of them was bombarded by some sort of space radiation. The ship crashed and the lone survivor was found by a watcher. He senses what the survivor was going to become, and he could have destroyed it right then and there, but as a watcher he could not interfere. So Galactus was aborned. And I guess that was all the info Odin needed, and everybody went their separate ways. Back now to Fantastic Four number 121 about 2.5 years later. So this dude shows up and says that he is Gabriel the Angel and he heralds the end of humanity. And he spends the issue messing stuff up. At the end, we get the reveal that while Gabriel isn't an angel, he was just a robot, he still does herald the end of the Earth, for he heralds Galactus. Now look at this badass page here. This is exactly what Galactus should be thought of as. Badass. But in the next issue, he's wearing shorts again. What the hell? Like, I thought we were past that, I thought we'd gotten to it, but like, the inconsistencies in his color here is actually quite jarring to me. Like, I thought that he was kind of orange and green in his first appearance or whatever, and then I kind of thought he fell into the purple right away, but we are bouncing back from blue to brown to green. I don't like looking at Galactus in any other colors. I find it odd. He's like player 2 in a fighting game. It just doesn't feel right. Galactus has once again come to the Earth to find the Silver Surfer. If the Silver Surfer will rejoin Galactus, then the Devourer will keep his word and continue to not eat the Earth. The Surfer refuses, and the Fantastic Four take the fight to Galactus, but they are no more than fleas to him. Though the Thing does actually manage to knock Galactus down, they are all easily tossed aside. The Silver Surfer, Human Torch, and the Thing keep Galactus distracted while Reed and Sue make their way to Galactus' ship, where Reed threatens to destroy it unless Galactus vows to leave again. It goes poorly. Galactus wrecks Reed and then goes ape on New York. And again he demands that the Silver Surfer return to his service. They have only till nightfall to decide. And then General Ross and the military attack Galactus, and Richard Nixon demands that the Silver Surfer just go with him, go with Galactus. And in the end, he ultimately does. The former Herald agrees to follow Galactus anywhere in this universe. But old sneaky Mr. Fantastic had a trick up his rubbery sleeve. He actually rigged Galactus' ship to transport him straight into the negative zone, where there are enough uninhabited worlds to sustain him for countless ages. A solution that Reed astral projects across the entire globe with the help of Agatha Harkness. Comic books are wild and weird. Back now to Thor, issue 184, where we see that Reed's plan was a good one, because Galactus is just laying comfortably in a post-Thanksgiving-esque food coma, fully satiated. Much later, in Thor number 225, we finally get to see someone other than Stan Lee writing. It's Jerry Conway who writes now as Galactus again returns to Earth. First, he sends his new herald, the Fire Lord. Fire Lord was sent there to search out the mighty Thunder God himself, who happened to be hanging out with Hercules. And when Galactus himself arrives on Earth, Thor is confused as Reed Richards made a deal with Galactus. Hercules postulates that Galactus is a liar and cannot be trusted, while Odin insists that Galactus has been made a fool of by Earthlings and will not rest until the Earth is destroyed. Turns out, though, Galactus is a good guy who keeps his word. He just needs Thor's help in fighting Ego. Ego's power has grown and he has gone mad with power, destroying everything in his way, and he must be stopped. So Hercules and Thor join forces with Galactus and Firelord to go fight Ego the Living Planet. I'm really liking to see here how Galactus almost sees Thor as a contemporary. And I kind of think that a lot of modern writers have forgotten about that relationship, or am I mistaken? I think there was a point somewhat recently where Thor became a herald of Galactus. Was there previous stuff related at all in that? I haven't read it. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if modern writers still do acknowledge that Thor and Galactus are kind of buddy-buddy. Wouldn't that be a weird buddy cop movie? Like just Thor and Galactus out roaming the galaxy, picking up chicks or whatever buddy cops do? But yes, Galactus is doing something noble for the sake of the universe. While Thor, Herc, and Firelord battle their way to the brain of Ego and just kind of shoot it, Galactus was discreetly building a rocket on Ego's ass to shoot him to the other side of the galaxy. After they've won their battle, the Firelord asks for his freedom. Though Galactus admits that Firelord was his most loyal herald, he will grant him freedom. If Thor can find him a replacement herald. Luckily, Thor had just been battling with the Destroyer armor and was like, here, take this empty armor, it can be your herald. And Galactus is like, oh yeah, that'll work. Says it just like that. So that is the first 24 appearances of Galactus. Don't worry, I'm not done yet. I'm just pointing something out here. The first 24 appearances of Galactus, 12 of those appearances were in Thor comics. 10 were in the Fantastic Four. 1 was in Silver Surfer, and the other was in Daredevil. I find that fascinating how just the conceptions of these characters, like Galactus, Fantastic Four, that's what you think. But no, he was popping up more in Thor. After this, it would be, well, there's more Thor still, but it would be a lot more Fantastic Four, obviously. But these early days, it was back and forth. Neat. But yes, back to Fantastic Four for issues 172 through 175. The Fantastic Four are off in space on the High Evolutionary's Counter-Earth when a gold space gorilla announces that Galactus is coming. The Thing battles the Destroyer armor and then the mighty Hungry One himself to save Counter-Earth from devouration. Then eventually Galactus speaks to the heroes using telepathy. Reed says, "I didn't know you could do telepathy," and Galactus says, "Yeah, like, I'm Galactus, I can do anything." Actually, he says, "I'm Galactus, I can do anything." He does go on to make them a deal. He will spare Counter-Earth if the Fantastic Four can either find a planet where every single inhabitant is willing to die, or an inhabited planet that the four of them unanimously decide should all perish. Personally, at this point, I kind of think they should just let Galactus have Counter-Earth, because, like, didn't the High Evolutionary just kind of make it? So it's all relatively new and young, and I guess everybody's kind of a clone or something, but, like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel as real. So just let him have it. Reed does soon come to the same conclusion, because he's like, you know what? I wouldn't give up my planet to save Counter-Earth, so while he's trying to convince a robot planet to do it, and Johnny is off trying to convince Skrulls cosplaying in the medieval times to give up their planet, like, obviously, nobody's gonna want to do that. So Reed's like, we gotta find another way. The High Evolutionary steps up to fight his own fight. He grows to enormous size so he and Galactus may do a kaiju battle over Counter-Earth. Galactus is actually glad to have the fight. He's often disappointed when most worlds just fall to him. A battle makes the consumption more pleasant. But once the High Evolutionary is defeated, Galactus begins his preparations, only for the Fantastic Four to stand against him. And at this point, Galactus is like, Reed, dude, I'm not eating your Earth. Let me have this Earth. Just want one. I want some Earth. They continue to deny the Devourer, and he begins to get mad. I promise not to harm your world, he says. I made no such promise about you. He's about to kill them when Sue shows up with a third planet where everyone is on board with planetary consumption. So Galactus goes up and does his thing, and then he doubles over in pain and shrinks away until he is nothing. It turns out that was the planet Pop-Up, homeworld of the Impossible Man. He was also every single citizen on the planet, and they gave Galactus a case of, and I quote, terminal indigestion. This was also the Impossible Man's second appearance in 13 years. I suppose it is also worth noting that among Galactus's many other powers, he has the ability to shoot a laser at Ben Grimm in his robot thing suit and turn him back into a regular thing. Galactus can do anything except not die in this issue. And this seemed like as good a place of any to end this video. I had a point I was hoping to get to, but like realistically, Galactus died. So from his first appearance, 28 issues later till he died, that was the early evolution of Galactus. A lot of color changes, but pretty much the big guy remained the same. Not too in-depth of a character, but there was humanity to him. Kind of. He's not a human. But he was once very human-like, and he got transformed into this thing. It was much later where they would reveal that his origin was kind of kept the same, but in that spaceship crash, he survived the Big Bang and the end of the last universe and the start of this universe, where this one didn't really go into that. And then there's some stuff much later where like every different Galactus across the multiverse is the same Galactus, but that's dumb. But like just basically, he's this big dude. He is a force of nature. He doesn't eat because he's mean or evil. His will is to devour. So he goes out and devours because he shall not perish. If he doesn't eat, he dies. So he doesn't want to die. He just is. That said, like, reading all this, I got a newfound respect for Galactus. I kind of liked him. I'm probably going to keep reading some more Galactus because curious to see where he goes. How does he come back from that? I want to see. He comes back to Earth and they have to, like, everybody gathers to fight him. Like, what makes him go back on his vow and things. Just Galactus, more interesting than I thought he would be. Anyway, I've been Haus, and if you guys have hit like and subscribed and promised me to come back for my next video, then you can go ahead and enjoy your evenings and stay Haussy. Ta-ta.